JT, you were fortunate not to hit the protocol list, but it's been 2 weeks, presumably, since you've been on the ice with your teammates in a full practice environment, 3 weeks since being in a game. With your club resuming competition in 48 hours, how ready do you feel? How ready is it reasonable to expect you and your teammates to be for those games?
I don't really feel ready at all, if I'm being completely honest. Trying to use a couple skates here to get my hockey senses back. The legs aren't going to be there immediately, obviously. And I can't really speak on behalf of my teammates that have had it, COVID. So it's going to be tough for them to bounce back this quickly and try to play. So I'm just hoping everybody can stay as healthy as they can here. And that's kind of like my main priority is try to stay healthy. I haven't really thought about expectations or how ready to play I'd be. I just know that it's going to be tough to jump back into a game against a really good team. But at the end of the day, hopefully once we get started, the competitive juices will be flowing off the hop. So kind of the card we've been dealt, and we've got to deal with it now.
And while, again, you were fortunate not to hit the protocol list or test positive at any point, what have the last 10 days, 2 weeks been like for you in terms of the anxiety you feel for your teammates, their families as well? What's that process been like from your perspective?
It sucks. We're fortunate to not, get sick, but you feel for them. I've definitely felt guilt here and there. It's just kind of one of those things. That being said, all I could think about is what I just told you was how can we all stay healthy out of all this and show up and try to play and just want to make sure that everybody's families are doing well, and mine included. Mentally, even for me, this hasn't been the easiest year. I mean, I'm coming up on 50 days of quarantine just in this last year. So it's been a rough go for a lot of people, and I've definitely been thinking about my teammates and their families every day, and feel fortunate that we weren't as affected as they were, obviously. So number one priority is my family and my family at the rink. So it's it's kind of a crazy scenario.
We'll go next to Ian McIntyre.
What was your reaction, JT, when you saw the schedule that the NHL presented for you guys?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about hockey much. Like I said, alluding to the answer I just gave Thomas. But at the same time, I think it's just a little. It's kind of crazy. I know that everybody's got a job to do, but to expect pretty much our entire team to be ready to play in one practice and a pregame skate is a little bit hard to comprehend. And when I say looking out for people's health and my family and my teammates and their families, I mean, from the guys that are going to play, this is going to be a really tough challenge. And, even for me, skating a couple times and, my lungs are screaming and definitely not in game shape at all right now from sitting around and not doing much. And I couldn't imagine what these guys are going to have to go through to get back and be ready to play at a high level against, we're playing two of the best players in the entire world on Friday, and one of the best teams in the league on Saturday. So I never thought I'd be in this scenario in my career. It's going to be a start of a really long stretch, short but hard stretch at the end of the year here. So a reaction, I don't know. It's not ideal, obviously, for anybody, but we have a job to do, I guess, and I don't know.
Even for the players who come out of protocol, of course, they have to pass a cardiac screen. There's other stages before they can play a game. But even once they're cleared, having had that disease or virus, do you worry about the health of players who are coming back from that and have been thrown into a schedule where they're asked to play 5 games in the first 7 days, for instance?
I mean, that's all I worry about, and it's kind of frustrating if I'm being 100% honest with you. And we try to talk about the number one priority is players' health and their family safety, and this is it's almost impossible to achieve that with what they've asked us to do here on our return. So, like I said, I can't speak on behalf of the guys that have had COVID, but I've talked to my teammates a lot, and this hasn't been obviously that easy. There's different for everybody, and for them to try to come back and play like I just talked to is going to be very challenging and not very safe if you're asking me. And I'm sure that there's other people that would agree with that. So, I don't know what it's going to take for us to try to avoid injury, stay healthy, whatever it may be. This is going to be a really tough task to try to handle, and I don't know what the right answer is, or I'm just trying to, all I can do is control, I guess, myself from at this point. And if we are, I'm planning on playing Friday. I'm trying to play a good game for my team, so I guess I could focus on that.
Next is Ben Kuzma.
Couple from me, JT. You're the ultimate team guy, and I know you can't speak on behalf of your teammates, but with everything that has happened here, your COVID scare, and the fact that this schedule and the risk of long hauler symptoms for the players is going to make this 56-game completion of the season seem rather ridiculous with 19 games in 31 days, 6 back-to-backs. My question, JT, is should you be playing?
It's a hard question. I don't want to be caught agreeing with you and saying that I'm also saying ridiculous here, but should is a weird word because there's just a lot of moving parts, and I don't know. I don't know, and it's unfortunate that that we're even in a scenario like this. But like I keep alluding to in my mind, I guess, is that it is our job. We have to be prepared to play, but at the same time, I mean, I think that whoever, the schedule was made, I understand the guys coming off of 3 weeks of rest, 2 weeks of having COVID, that one practice isn't even close to near enough time to come back and perform at a high level. So, and on that, it's not even about being able to perform. It's nothing to do with hockey at this point. Brutally, honestly, I think that, we're going to need more time than this to come back and play hockey. Even the guys that didn't get it were not ready to play. So, it's a decision that was made, and as of now, we're going to be, I guess, ready to play. But I without going too much farther into it, I mean, that's all I can really say at this point. Is it seems like a very high hurdle to try to jump over to try to jam 19 NHL games in against good hockey teams in the month. So,
what's this done to you mentally, JT, in the sense that I know you've always been aware of COVID, but how much shock to the system has it been to see what everybody, not just the players, the entire organization, 25 people have endured?
Mentally, it's been really hard. I'm not making this about me. Like I said, our family's been very fortunate to not be affected by this. We've been healthy. My little girls are healthy. My wife's healthy. That's, at the end of the day, that's the reason I play hockey, is, for my family, and, I love to play the game. And this year it's making it hard to, sometimes hard to enjoy, the beauties of the game of hockey. And there's been so much outside noise affecting it. And obviously this disease or illness or whatever it is, the virus is, it's real. It's affecting people. It spreads very rapidly, and we're just we tried to do our best to, abide by protocols and do our part. But sometimes this thing's everywhere, and, mentally it's been very tough on us just sometimes to be cooped up a lot. We're fortunate with our setup here and at our house, but it's a lot of time, and, we're here to do a job, and we're here for work, and we couldn't even work half the year, I feel like. So it's been a very strange thing, and we know everybody's trying to do their part. From people and the officials to our organization to the league. I know it's not easy on anybody, so I'm not pointing fingers. It's just it's a hard situation.
Okay, we'll take one more here from Jay Janauer.
JT, I'm curious, you guys are elite athletes, but you go from basically having an engine that's been in 5th gear on overdrive, hitting your stride, to just like throwing it in park. How quickly do you guys get out of shape, regardless how healthy you are, having not really been on the ice and practice at that high level?
I wouldn't say too quickly, but I mean, like the week we had off would have been perfect. Like no games like that. I think that was the reset button right before we, had to go on pause for the COVID. Like that was a good amount of rest, but 2 to 3 weeks of not doing a whole lot at the house. There's only so much you can do. There's no, we always say that even when we're training in the summer on a normal year that, being in game shape for an NHL game, there's nothing, you can't prepare for it unless you get on the ice and skate and, playing games. It's a different animal. When your brain's thinking that quickly and you have to stop and start that many times. I know it's, for me, the last few days has been, the legs feel really good. Actually, I feel very rested. We played a lot of hockey in March. It's just it's really hard to get your lungs to breathe how you want them to. So they're to open how you want them to. And that's where I keep going back to is it's hard for me and guys that haven't been affected by the COVID that I cannot imagine guys that have had it and guys that are, struggling to breathe, getting up and down steps to try to come back and perform. So that's the only part that I go back to. And I'm just more worried about our team's safety and of our players and their families. And that's my number one priority and thought that goes through my head on a day-to-day basis.
JT, I'm not sure if bizarre is the right word or challenging, but to be on the ice at the rink must be nice. But at the same time, how strange is it being out there on your very own? And what have you basically been able to do out there for the last 3 days?
Yeah, it's strange. There's nothing like it. Nothing. I probably won't experience it again. I never thought I would have to. In April, be skating one-on-one in a separate group. But as of right now, like I keep saying, the plan is to play Friday. So I guess as a guy that wasn't affected, I need to do my best to make sure that I'm practicing as hard as I can right now, trying to not hurt myself and, just try to be ready to play a game Friday. And it's going to be a hard game I want to do what I can to still compete in that game and, try to be competitive.
Okay, a couple more hands have been raised, so we'll take 2 more here. We'll go first to Farhan Lalji.
JT, just wanted to ask you a bit about Adam Gaudette, who's no longer with the team. Just your thought on his being moved. And, I know there's suggestions out there that potentially him being the first COVID case may have had something to do with the trade. Just your thoughts on Adam and his place in all of it.
And his place in what, sorry?
Just his place in all of this, being the first case and also no longer being with the team now.
I'm not going to speak on behalf of Adam being the first case. And I'm not going to point fingers. This could have happened, to anybody. It's an unfortunate thing. But as a player, he's been a good player for us. This year he didn't score much, but it seemed like he had, unlimited amount of scoring chances this year. And if a couple more go in for him, he's really, he's got a ton of goals and he's a very offensive minded, good player. And, I know he'll do well wherever he's at. So obviously wish him the best of luck.
And back to the safety piece, did you guys have any dialogue with the Players Association? Obviously they would have signed off on this, but, has there been anybody from the players' end of it that's expressed their concerns directly to the PA?
Yeah, I know we have guys that talk with the PA, but I don't, I haven't spoken much with them about it, and I have not been in contact with them.
Okay, we'll take our last question here for JT Miller from Jim Morris.
Hello, JT. Thanks for taking the time. With everything else that's going on and all this, normally this time of year, players are still trying to look at, hopefully, playoffs are still a goal. How does that fit into this whole scenario? You're back in the pack, you're coming off this long layoff, you got guys trying to come off COVID. Is the playoffs even in your mind? Is it like trying to make the playoffs? How does that fit into this whole scenario?
This isn't about I hope that people don't take this the wrong way because I'm a very competitive guy, and when I go on the ice, I really want to win, and that's at the end of the day, there's nothing better. But at the same time, this doesn't have to do with hockey right now for our team. This has been, I'm beating a dead horse for saying this so many times, but it's about the health and safety of our players and our players' families and their children. And this isn't about making the playoffs for us at this point. We all want to win. We're all competitive. This has been the most extreme cases, of circumstances this year that we're starting to go back in the bubble to playing a half season to not going to the United States. You go down on the list, and this isn't an excuse, but this is just reality. And the shutdown right now, and then forcing us to play 19 and 30 or 31 days, and think about the playoffs when guys are still recovering from this and are expected to be ready to play. It's frustrating, and I just want to make sure everybody's priorities are in the right place, because, making the playoffs right now is definitely, in my mind, for me. I mean, I haven't thought about going to the playoffs, and that's not because I don't think we couldn't do it with our team. If we didn't have gone through this, that's a completely different conversation. That was still our goal going into all this. And after that break, I think we felt like we were kind of hitting our stride as a team and could have made it very interesting coming down the stretch. So this doesn't have to do with me not wanting to play there or not believing in our team. This is a very extreme scenario, and it's dangerous to a lot of our players. So I want to make sure that our priorities in the right spot.
Do you think in your heart the team will get to play the full 19 games? Do you think the schedule will end, or do you think that's a possibility?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I like but it does, like, that being said, is I'm just showing up and I have a job to do now, and they set the schedule and that's what it is. So I'm planning on playing Friday and going to try my best to help the team win the game. I guess that's all I can do.